Jeff Lynne, the man who brought you Mr. Blue Sky, Don't Bring Me Down, and founding member of the Electric Light Orchestra, is a living rock and roll legend like none other. He writes his songs methodically, produces them industriously, and sings them with a fantastic fusion of the Beatles, Queen, and everything good in between. Today we're going to show you 10 very interesting facts about the modern day Renaissance man from the Electric Light Orchestra, Jeff Lynne. Let's begin. He's back. Jeff Lynne surprised fans recently with the release of a brand new album cheekily titled From Out of Nowhere, in which Jeff showcases his incredible ability to be a one-man band. He plays mostly everything, sang everything, and produced it all. This is pretty incredible considering he's 71 years old. He's credited with performing vocals, guitar, bass, piano, drums, keyboards, and cello. He's known for being a perfectionist, and his meticulous curation of sounds on this new album is as evident as it always was, and it sits firmly in ELO's lineage. If you're a fan of ELO, this album does not bring you down. Jeff grew up in Shard End, a post-war housing estate on the edge of Birmingham. After leaving school at 15 to work as a musician, his mother disapproved, saying he should just take a job as a cameraman at ATV Television where she worked. Jeff responded, "I said, I don't want to be a bloody cameraman. I'm a guitar player." She went, "Oh, that'll never work. You want to get this job. It's a good job. You'll get a pension and everything." Which makes the lyrics in When I Was a Boy so much more revealing when he says, "Don't want a job 'cause it drives me crazy. Just want to sing, do you love me, baby." He even wrote the hit song, Can't Get It Out of My Head, in a direct response to his father's criticisms. He and his dad were having an argument, and his dad said, "That's the trouble with your tunes. They've got no bloody tune." Jeff responded, "So I said, I'll show you a tune then," and wrote the song for the album El Dorado, which became the 16th best-selling album of 1974. Jeff recalls saying, "And that's how I wrote that one, just to show him I could write a tune." Many people hear the word Bruce after the hook line in the hit song Don't Bring Me Down, but it was actually GROOSE, a made-up word Jeff used as a placeholder in the song. When his engineer, who so happened to be German, asked, "How did you know that word?" Jeff replied, "What word?" And the engineer said GROOSE means greetings in German, so Jeff said, "That's good, I'll leave it in." But as the song caught fire and became one of their biggest hits ever, something strange happened. Jeff says, "When I was on stage with it, everyone would sing Bruce." Jeff wanted to correct the audience preferring GROOSE over Bruce, but he eventually caved and said, "Fuck it, I'll sing Bruce as well." Musicians and sunglasses aren't a new thing, but Jeff sure does wear his glasses often, outside, indoors, on stage, off stage, but surprisingly, it's not just there for his iconic style. Jeff says he wears them because, quote, "I just like myself better with them on. I'm less shy with them on." Isn't it interesting how many rock and roll stars, people like Freddie Mercury and the like, can command thousands of people in a room and sing and perform, and yet can also be shy and have difficulty with social anxiety? There's always so much to learn about people the more you look. After disbanding ELO in 1986, as he lost interest in the group, Jeff decided to dedicate his time to writing and producing songs for other musicians. He wrote and produced for Tom Petty, Roy Orbison, Del Shannon, Brian Wilson, and Aerosmith. He did that for decades, and his precise and measured skills at producing made him known as one of the greatest producers to ever live. Everyone wanted to work with him. Speaking of everyone wanting to work with him, while leaving dinner with singer-songwriter Dave Edmunds, Dave surprises Jeff by suddenly saying, "By the way, George Harrison asked me to ask you if you would like to work with him on his new album." Jeff is a massive Beatles fan, so of course he said yes. Jeff and George Harrison went on vacation to Australia, and several songs emerged that would end up going on George's Cloud 9 album. Jeff and George got along swimmingly, and Jeff produced George's comeback album after a 5-year hiatus, Rolling Stone even placing it on par with the 1970 masterpiece All Things Must Pass. So George and Jeff are a smashing duo, and it doesn't stop there. In 1988, George approached Jeff with an epic idea. Jeff recalls George saying, "You know what? Me and you should have a group." And I thought, "That's nice. Who should we have in it?" And he said, "Bob Dylan." "Bob Dylan? Okay, that's a good idea." And then I said, "Can we have Roy Orbison?" And he said, "Yeah, I love Roy." Tom Petty joined, and boom, we have the supergroup, the Traveling Wilburys. Based on a 1977 demo record by John Lennon in New York, Free as a Bird was completed by the other three Beatles 17 years later and released as the lead single for the anthology project. They asked Jeff to produce, which was an offer he couldn't refuse. Jeff recalls that Beatles reunion moment. He says, "Being right there in the inner sanctum and hanging out with them for a few weeks was fantastic. Although a long time passed since they last recorded as one unit, they worked terribly well together, and being in the control room watching and listening to them interact with each other was fascinating. I'd often have cause to think, Christ, no wonder they were the best. But I always thought they were the greatest anyway. They're still great musicians and great singers. Paul and George would strike up the backing vocals, and all of a sudden it's the Beatles again. To be there in the middle of all this and have a degree of responsibility over the result was astonishing. It wasn't some kind of fake version. It really was the real thing. They were having fun with each other and reminding each other of the old times. I'd be waiting to record, and normally I'd say, okay, let's do a take, but I was too busy laughing and smiling at everything they were talking about." You may have noticed that his new album has the name Jeff Lynne's ELO instead of just ELO. That's because he had to make a distinction between the original ELO before he disbanded it and ELO Part 2, which was created by Bev Bevan in 1989, who at the time co-owned the ELO name with Jeff, but ultimately sold his share to Jeff after retirement. It's basically just Jeff Lynne on the recording and an entire orchestra behind him during shows. After George Harrison passed away, on November 29, 2001, his son Donnie and Jeff Lynne finished a collection of songs George had recorded. The songs were close to being finished, so Jeff and Donnie added in appropriate instruments with George's specific instructions he left for them after he was gone. The album is called Brainwashed, and it was released a year after George died. Jeff Lynne helped produce his friend's music one last time, and it was beautiful. That's all for today, everyone. I truly do hope you enjoy the video, and be sure to leave any facts you know about Jeff Lynne in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, and special thanks to contributing author Leah Robbins. Be sure to check out some of our other videos on music, such as Why Did Freddie Mercury Write Bohemian Rhapsody?, the story behind Toto's Africa, and if you're a Beatles fan, well, let's just say this is your channel. Thanks to the amazing patrons who keep this channel alive, and if you're into super underground music, then definitely check out the HollyHobs on Spotify, Apple Music, and everywhere music is streamed. If you want to be notified when new videos are out, at this point you'll have to hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and pray that YouTube will recommend anything you actually might want to see. If you have an idea for a video, please be sure to leave a comment. See you next time.